Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and welcome. Welcome to the Infinite Way where spirituality meets humanity. My name is Dr. Enolia, and I am your host, and I am excited to bring to you Claudia Devyani. And let me tell you a little about Claudia. She is an RN, IFM Holistic Nurse, plant wisdom keeper, and energy medicine practitioner. Claudia is a registered nurse and trained practitioner through the Institute of Functional Medicine with a lifelong devotion to healing in its many forms: physical, emotional, spiritual, and ancestral. Her path began in Brazil, where she was raised under the gentle guidance of her grandfather, an alien Kardecist and spiritual medium. In his garden, filled with the scent of medicine and herbs, Claudia learned to listen to the wisdom of the plants. Those early experiences shaped her deep respect for nature as a healer and a teacher. So I'd like to welcome you, Claudia Devyani.
Good morning. Hi. Hi,
It's so
everybody.
good to
Thank,
have you here.
thank you, Inolia, for having me. It's such a pleasure to have this conversation with you today. It's always so energetically lifting, and I'm very grateful to be here this morning.
I am so excited to be here for our audience. Claudia is like a sister, okay? We have grown up together in energetic medicine a great many years together, and it's just so excited to have you here. I've been wanting to get you here for a long time because what you bring to the table is so special, and there's so many things, and you've healed and worked with so many people in such a positive way and changed their lives and their focus. And I don't even know where to begin, but I think what I want to do is I want to share that you one of your workshops, one of the things that you did is that you brought people to you or went to people and fed them food so that they can heal. And you would spend a week to 2 weeks with them to feed them, to heal them, to monitor what they're putting into their body so that it is the highest vibrational level. And people go, yeah, 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 okay, but no, I got to experience that when you cooked at a retreat for us. And this is where I want to deep dive because the plants and the medicine and the herbs and the food that you bring forward are truly a miracle and a blessing. I think that because your hands are blessed by
Wow.
Creator, that what you put together, because this is I as a receiver of it,
Mhm.
I I just I can't express the importance and how much it meant to me. By the way, I lost like 15 pounds in like 2 weeks. It was just like because I was eating and I was moving. So how did you learn your herbs and herbalism, and how did that become the primary factor that moves you? I know that many things move you, and you are a practitioner of many things, but I know that this is a focal point for you too. So would you share with us your story of how you came to this?
Yes, just to break the ice, when you were reading about the teachings of my grandfather, I just want to clarify it's called Allan Kardec, which he
Thank you.
was a French doctor
Okay.
and a medium. And my grandfather was, blessed to have this type of spiritual training, and he passed on to us. And so I remember as a little girl going around his house and seeing all this science books, and then this is like a very simple man, and he has his garden, and he would show us the herbs and say, oh, this is good for that, this is good for that. And I happen to be one of the grandchildren that was able to capture that and just stayed with me. And then years later, I was sick in 2010. I had colon cancer, and it was on my sigmoid, and I at that point I had forgotten all the things that I knew. It was inside of me,
Hmm.
and that's when I shifted my way of eating, my way of being, my way of connecting with the plant world. Um, in my philosophy, my belief system, I believe that they have spirits, and then they are here to help us. And when you were in the retreat and eating that food, I don't know if you remember, you guys touched the food. You guys had to learn what you were putting inside. We blessed the food. We were grateful for the moment that the seed got into the soil, and then the person that planted that food, and the person that went there and washed that food and prepared that food. And so one of my philosophies is to teach people to touch food, to not be afraid of touching food. I feel that a lot of people don't eat healthy enough because they are afraid. They think, oh, I don't know how to cook. I don't know how this is gonna taste, or I don't know how to mix flavors. But the flavor is on the food itself. It's already there in the vegetables, the herbs, and it's just you have to break that fear of touching and getting to know your food.
So when you talk about that, right, and you say touch the food, you mean physically touch the food. So we actually don't even have a relationship with our food because we have this thing called a fork. Not all the time. No, really. And I didn't realize this because while in Africa, and one of the things that you can opt to do is you can eat with your fingers. You don't have to eat with the fork and knife. And it's not unnatural to see somebody eating completely with their fingers. When I was in India, we ate with our fingers also. When I was in Nepal, we ate with our fingers, right? And I was taught,
Yes.
that thumb is the brush, and you know how to pick it up, scoop it into your mouth and everything. But there was a relationship with the food.
Uh,
Can you talk about that a little bit?
yes, you brought up a good point there. Not only touching the food, you know, in my culture, we learn to wash the vegetable really good, and scrub and take out the dirt. and and I know this is hard to even conceive, but the human body has more bacteria than cells. Okay. And your bacteria are so energetic. They can either be really happy or they can be really sad. So touching the food, when you're touching the food, you're exchanging that bacteria with the vegetables. You're exchanging, you're bringing those nutrients. Those bacteria helps you to carry nutrients into your body, into your bloodstream. And nutrients, all kinds of nutrients, but the most important nutrients is your energy. It's the level of your energy, is the rays of energies. So depending on the color of the food, for example, they bring a certain type of energy. Yellow, reds and greens. The more colorful you have on your plate, the more color you have, the more of that color you are bringing into yourself. So that's my concept of eat with your hand as much as you can, because you are connecting with the food, you are connecting with all those good bacteria from the food, and you are exchanging that, and they just want to help us. And that's why I think vegetables, fruits, herbs, the plant world have a spirit, because they also have these bacteria that are connected with Father Sun, Grandmother Moon, the dirt, which is our Pachamama. So bring that in.
Yes, yes. Let's go before the table. One of the most provocative books I ever read was Singing to the Plants.
Ah.
And the plants and the plant vibration. Will you take us a little bit into the plant world?
Yes, yes. So just think of the plant, the trees. Let's start with the trees. They
Okay.
are old ancients in this world. And when one in a forest, I live in a forest now, and it's truly amazing to me that I know that in the world of trees, when there is one tree that is ill or weak, they have long, long, long roots, and they communicate with each other, and they say, okay, we all need to come together and help that particular tree that is ill. So a little bit of nutrients of each tree comes together to go in and feed that nutrient that that tree is needing at that moment. And they do that through mushrooms. So the myceliums,
Yeah.
and I will talk a little bit more about mycelium later. But the mushroom is a, just think of your brain and your axon. The axon is the electricity, the shock that needs to happen for your neurons to connect. That's exactly the work of the mushroom is doing in between the trees. And
Mm.
that's why mushroom is so good for your health, because they guide, they are like the, just think of you're in London. I don't know if you've ever been in London, and
Yeah.
you have the traffic driver and he's going, okay, go to the left, go to the right.
Right. Yes.
That's what the mushroom is doing. You know, he's selecting
Mhm.
the amounts of nutrients. Oh, you have this, okay, so you go to the left. Oh, you have that. It's a magical world, really.
So what takes mushrooms separate myceliums outside of the regular plant world? Is it because they're that director? And how did they become that director? What makes the myceliums? Because I know myceliums are really used to direct certain aspects of the body, very pointed, very specifically. Can you take us into that a little bit?
Yeah, so myceliums, they are, you know, it's a little, it's a fungi, right? So
Right.
they're a little bit human and they're a little bit plant. So they have both powers, you know, they have both types of DNA or epigenetics, and that's why they are able to make this differentiation, because they have so much information. You know,
Mm.
just think of the data. You know, like you have a supercomputer and you have so many data and so much information, so they are able to specify in a nano quantity what needs to go where. And that's why mushrooms are so powerful. Mushrooms now are being used to clean our planet, you know, because they are scavengers. You know, it's just incredible how they can turn something so polluted like plastic into organic material. That's just
Wow. Yeah.
amazing.
So in the mushrooms in the are epigenetics, which means that it's literally directing how we're supposed to be functioning, how we're supposed to be operating and bringing us back into balance. Is it
Yes, yes. I'm gonna give you a good example of lion's mane.
right?
So lion's mane is a mushroom used for to help with your neurotransmitter called serotonin.
Yes.
So lion's mane does not make serotonin, but lion's mane prepare your body, your the whole thing, not just your biochemistry, but your nerve system as far as your emotion
Hmm.
to produce serotonin. So it's a precursor of a serotonin. That's
Okay.
the, you know, and it rewire your brain, because when you start changing the way that you feel about a stress event, that particular mushroom start helping you to canalize or to make new neurons that is for more happiness, for more
Yeah.
understanding, for more gratefulness. It's almost like it helps you to see a bad situation into a good situation.
Okay, okay. So then talk to us a little bit about the freshness of that which you bring forward. Because when I was in Brazil and we went to the herb store and it was a jar of this and we get a half ounce of this and a half ounce of that versus, this over the counter processed food that's in the store. Are we losing the nutritional value? No. People might hear, oh, lion's mane does this, so I'm going to go, and they run and they get the little tea bags of lion's manes and everything. But are they getting the nutrients that we're talking about when it's gone through the process like that? Is it okay, or should you really just find that herbal store that really brings forward those herbs?
So I think the best way of approaching, nutrition is to be curious.
Okay.
Okay. So what I mean by that is study about it. Even if you Googled lion's mane, what is this for? You know, and then who is the guy in the United States that is an expert on mushrooms? To me, is Paul Stamets. Read about him. Um, Even if you watch one of his YouTube videos, I'm not promoting Paul Stamets. I just know him and I know he is a good guy and I trust what he teaches, but be curious. As far as the if going there and get that lion's mane and buying and start taking, is this a good idea? Yes, but you have to think that your body as a whole, you need other things. You do need to eat well. You need to be picky with what you are putting in your body. You know, you need to be picky how you are washing your body, how you are uh, using, what kind of a makeup you are using, what kind of a lotion you are using. Your skin is the largest organ in your body. So why am I bringing this up? Yeah, you go and buy lion's mane or you buy, let's say, vitamin C,
Uh-huh.
but then you go and buy some kind of a body lotion that is full of chemicals, and you start getting inflamed inside and you don't know why. So do you see how one contradicts the other? So you
Yeah,
can take the most expensive vitamin, but if you are putting junk in your skin, it's you're not gonna get any better. And then you're
exactly.
gonna you're gonna blame your practitioner and say, oh, it's not working. So when I do consultation with people, I want to know everything about them. They're like, oh my gosh, why you are asking me that?
Exactly, but it's true. Every single thing counts. We can't neglect the fact that, your deodorants carry all certain kinds of chemicals, your toothpaste carries certain kinds of chemicals, the things that we take for granted every single day that we're like, oh, but I have to use this. I don't want to smell. I don't want to, the body wash that you use to wash your body, the soap that you use, I mean, the shampoo that you use, all of those products are being ingested by our body. So it makes sense to me.
Yeah, and your body odor is your protector. You gotta learn how to love your body odor because that's your bacteria's helping you, saying, you may not be attracted to some, but you are maybe attracted to many. Do you see what I mean? Because
Okay.
that's how you connect with people. So your body odor, it doesn't matter where on your arm or in your, for us women in our vagina,
Yeah.
that's our power. That's our bacteria. That's our way of saying, hey, I'm here. I am
Hmm.
Claudia or I am Inolia.
Hmm.
So that's the first thing. Stop trying to cover your body odor.
I love it.
you know, with all these expensive things.
Yeah.
And so people say, well, living a healthy life is very expensive. No,
Hmm.
it's not. What is expensive is the medical bills that you will have in the future if you don't take care of yourself now. That's expensive. Or for those that are wealthy enough, your Botox and your skin treatments in the future to feel young and look young on the outside is going to be very expensive. So
Right.
I am a little bit of a stingy person, but I'm not stingy with what comes inside of my body, what comes in my body and my energetic field.
Yeah.
I want to take care of this. And because when I'm taking care of who I am, I'm not only taking care of me, I'm taking care of others because I want to be there for others as well
Yeah.
in a healthy way.
Yeah. So I want to also talk about the plant world as it pertains to vibration, because we in Africa, here in Angola, what we do is we have a little patch of garden, and when we got our place, right, the plants were all dying, right? And so we took over the garden, we tilled the soil, we planted. My husband gets up and he sings to the plants each morning. He just has this relationship with the plants, this symbiotic relationship. And his cousin came over and he goes, "Oh my God, what did you do? The banana trees are flourishing. The fruits of the bananas are huge. The lemon trees are coming up, the avocado trees are coming up. All of these things that he planted are lush, they're green, and I know it's because he's singing to the plants, which just it makes my heart soar. But plants, they now have some little device too that you can actually hear the vibration of the plants, and the plants hear our vibration. But that relationship with the plants and how they inform, can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because you have to be informed. I know you are just like
Yes, yes. So plants, just like humans, have cells, and the cells have organelles. And there is one particular organelle, and it's called mitochondria.
Mhm.
And it's called the powerhouse, right? And the mitochondria makes ATP, which is the energy of the plant. Okay. So just think as humans, okay, when you go through trauma or a history, it can be ancestral trauma. The reason why I'm bringing this is because it's Africa. Africa as a continent, because people think Africa is a country, but Africa as a continent went through severe trauma,
Right,
for many, many, many years, thousands of years. And so just think of us human going through severe trauma, right?
right,
And we go through that trauma, and it's and then the new children are born, and it still have some of that trauma, and then new children are born. Just think of Job now in his garden, and he has a small little piece of land. And remember the organelles on plants, they regenerate every month,
okay,
okay? As far as a whole, as the cell, okay, as a whole. But the organelles inside the mitochondria is working every milliseconds, and she's creating new energies, and she's creating new memories, okay, and then she's transmitting that energy. That's why it's important to take care of this body, because when we take care of it, we create new energies, we create new cells, we can create new ways of being, and we relate to people differently as well, right? So that's what Job is doing. Every time he's singing, those organelles are dancing and they're happy, and they're inviting all the other plants, let's be happy, life is changing for us. And then he goes and sing again, oh, it is true, now they feel trust. Oh, let's sing it again, now they feel strong and empowered, and things start fruiting and growing. And that's how it is, and that is in every world. It's human world, plant world, animal world. We are all like that. We have
yeah,
this internal intelligence.
Yes. And you know, it's so funny. It brings me back to my teachings with my grandmother elder, Isabel Mawasaki, because one of the things she taught us is that, first of all, we always carry a pouch, and that pouch always has tobacco in it, right? So I have mine right
Yes.
here. I always keep it within my purview. I'm usually wearing it. And before we take from the plant, we communicate with the plant by just literally using our regular voice. May I have permission to take this leaf or this part of you before I take it? And then we understand that the plant is refusing if that leaf doesn't release with ease. If it's still holding and I'm trying to tug it off, I'm not supposed to take it, right? It's saying to me no. And then I could either go to another part and ask permission for that other part, and it'll release easy, or leave it alone. It doesn't want to give up its parts. And what
Yes.
you're saying makes so much sense now in terms of those traditions and those understandings, because in honoring her and asking her permission and then leaving a little tobacco to say, here's a little something for you. You gave me something, that it's called Aini, that sacred reciprocity, right?
Yes.
That it will produce more and want to be there more for me because I gave it the respect that it needed in order to ask it for its parts, instead of just taking with entitlement and taking it just because I think I'm entitled to it, and because I'm a bigger animal, or a bigger
Yes.
being to it. And that you're basically saying with the mitochondria and everything, that relationship is very much active and it very much understands us. And I'm really saying this for the benefit of our audience, because people are like, oh, a plant is a plant is a plant. No, it's a live living energy. And as shaman, we subscribe to the fact that everything has energy in the first place.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
to honor that energy in the exchange of want and need versus reciprocity and giving too, that this is real and that it will honor you more so if you just take a simple time or step of asking. And this is why these practices are put into place. And this is, yeah.
Yes.
And
As a matter of fact, there are some cultures that before they plant the seed, they put the seed inside of their mouth for the seed to recognize their DNA. So the
ah,
seed will learn, oh, I need this. This person is needing more potassium. This person is needing more magnesium. And then you plant the seed. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. And I want to bring something that I found this couple weeks ago about comfrey.
Okay.
So comfrey is not a plant for you to consume, for you to eat, because
Right.
it can be very poison. But this plant is so smart. It's so smart that the plant has the highest number of minerals anybody can need. So just so you understand minerals, we need minerals to create other types of nutrients, other types of nutrients like vitamin C needs minerals, all kinds of nutrients that we need. If without the minerals, we can't assimilate. Well, comfrey is used to fertilize your soil. It's the best fertilizer.
Okay.
So
Wow.
see, so it's a plant that, hey, you cannot eat me, but I can help other plants that you can eat. So having comfrey in your garden is essential. I just want to say that.
Yeah, yes. And it was the first plant that I learned about with the Ojibwe. It was, and matter of fact, it's in my book because I have recommended things that I learned, key teachings that I learned, and comfrey is one of them. And I that was the first plant I ever drew out. Also because my grandmother had me sketch them out and then write their properties and understand what they do, and then sketch them out, write their properties, and understand what they do.
Wow. And comfrey is a healer in itself. It heals pain,
Mm,
physical pain, muscular pain, also it regenerates bones. So back in the day when surgery wasn't in existence, wasn't invented, they used to mend bone with comfrey. They used to put pots of comfrey on top of the bone that was broken,
Mm-hmm.
and for a while, for like 30 days, and the body would start making bone calcium.
Okay.
So it's so powerful, and it's one of the plants that are most studied in science. I like to bring spirituality with science, so people will understand in a language that is people it's easy to understand.
Right.
So um, comfrey is good for pain, and the smell of comfrey helps with the pain that it's sentimental pain.
Ah,
So, because when you are in pain, when your body hurts, your muscles, or you have knots, it's because of stress. It's because you know, bad body posture or working too hard. And so comfrey is so magical that not only helps with that body posture issue and those knots, but also helps with the stress that caused that.
yeah.
So it helps you to let it go,
Okay.
and it's such a beautiful plant.
For those aspiring to embrace the plant world, how would you say they would need to be in terms of approaching the plant world such that the plant world would be receptive to them? Because the plant world is not receptive to everyone and it does not inform everyone. And when I talk about the receptivity, I'm talking about not just that I like to grow and I'm kind of in my human head and ego of this is what you grow, this is what you plant, this is how you do it, blah, 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 blah. Not the mechanics of it, but when you want to transcend it and have a relationship with the plants such that they are informing you because plants do inform.
Yes, very much so. They call you. My plants call me. It's amazing when I have something going on, or if one of my clients have something going on and I just can't remember what can I do, and they call me and they're like, "Hey, it's me."
So, what is it about? What is it that you did in your training and in your approach and in your working with plants that transcended that typical relationship that some of us have? Like I can go and I can plant, but I'll by no means I don't even have the relationship with plants that my husband does. Okay. I don't have definitely don't have it the way that you do. What is it if I was one of those practitioners and it's like, okay, I really want to go knee deep into the plants? What is it that I need to align within my being that opens the door to that plant world?
I think I think for me, and I think the best way is to start somewhere, even though it's hard to believe that a plant can heal you, but you have to do it anyways. Like give give yourself and the plant a chance. you
Mm-hmm.
know I would start by one, walking in nature, paying attention on everything that you see the synchronicities, like, many times I'm walking in nature and I see like a tree holding another one because it's like, oh, she's about to fall. Make Look at that. Be a little bit in a fantasy in the world, and just imagine things. Oh, I think she's holding that one. Or, sometimes I see a weed attacking another plant. Instead of removing the weed, I teach her, I say, no, don't go there. Let her be. And I move her because I want that weed too, because maybe she's a weed for cosmetic gardens, but she's not a weed for me. She's medicine, So I say, you cannot go there. Leave her in peace. So be that way first, and see the little changes that is making on you. Notice those little changes. When you are eating a fruit, try to go to a farmer's. and say where you can buy if you pick, and experiment with communicating with that fruit before you pick. Experiment saying, "You want to come home with me?" And then when you pick, "Oh, I feel that you're going to bring so much nutrition into my body. I'm so grateful for all the work that you have done, for all the weather that you have sustained, and now you're going to sustain my body." Experiment with that. Be
Yeah.
curious, and then you start little by little. And when you start seeing changes in yourself, then you're like, wow, this is true. The fruit will taste better. I tell people how important it is to start a meditation practice, because everything start looking better, and the colors became more vivid, and the food tastes better as well.
And I'm going to add this, that they could possibly save your life because I was in Joshua Tree in California, and if anyone who doesn't know what Joshua Tree, California is like, if you are in these suburbs of Joshua Tree, it's like the desert. And so you can go on hikes like you're in the middle of the desert. It's a rocky desert, but it's a desert. And if you get turned around, even though you may be, only a third of a mile away from the homes, you could die out there because
Yeah.
you keep walking in circles and not knowing where you're going, et cetera, et cetera. You could go. And I remember being at this retreat and deciding to go out before sunrise. And I wanted to drum in the sunrise. And so I take this little hike, and I wasn't more than an eighth of a mile from the house. And conscious, I'm walking, I go here, there's my landmark, I go here, there's my landmark, and then here's the rocky crest, I'm not far, right? And so I have my drum and I'm drumming in the sun, and I have this beautiful little ceremony all by myself, and I'm there with the grandfather stones, and I'm just talking and singing, and I'm just so happy. And then it's time to go back. And I get up and I go to walk, and I look and I look and I look. Nothing seems familiar. I don't know if it had changed. I don't know what took place. And I'm one of those people, I'm very, very astute. I'm very, very detailed oriented in terms of, marking my directions and everything. I was lost. And so then I yelled, I'm like, hello. And that the way that the stones were arranged, I know that. And I can make a very loud noise when I'm yelling. Okay, I'm not one of those people. Hello, I'm like, you could hear me. I can fill a gymnasium singing. Okay, and my voice was echoing right back at me. It wasn't projecting like it does. It just wasn't going the distance that somebody could hear me. I could tell that it wasn't going the distance, and so I'm panicking. And then I close my eyes to stop panicking a little bit, and I remember my desert intensives with my grandfather, Lynch Archuleta, out in Arizona. And, one of the things he said is that, if you talk to the plants and ask them to give you an indication, a definitive indication, they will let you know. So I walked, and I walked a little bit, and I was like, no, don't go too far from where I am, because I know I'm close. I just don't know. I'm just disoriented. I just don't know which direction. And there were a group of little plants on this incline. And so I walked over to the plants, and I looked at the plants, and I just closed my eyes, and I said, please, if I am going the right way, please move. And it's a still day. Please move. If this is the direction I'm supposed to go, please move. If it's not the direction I'm supposed to go, just stay still. And I closed my eyes and I opened my eyes, and I stood there for like a minute, and the plants moved. There was no wind, there was no nothing. The plants moved. And then I walked a little bit further, and I said the same thing, and the plants moved. And I walked a little bit further, and I did this, I don't know, for about 300 or 400 feet, which doesn't sound like much, but it was a huge deal, feeling disoriented in the desert. And then finally, they brought me up an incline. They brought me up an incline, and I could see the house. And so I have the deepest, deepest respect for the plant world, and they feel everything, know everything. I've also had a moment where I was in the forest, and I'm drumming because this is my thing. I sing to the plants, but I'm not singing to the plants, but I'm singing to the plants, right? I go, I have my drum,
Mhm.
I'm singing to spirit, I'm singing to the forest, I'm just singing to everybody, and I sing to the water too, right? But I'm just singing, I'm just pouring my heart out. And it was a still moment, and then all of a sudden, leaves just came falling down, right? It's not fall, it's not anything. The leaves just came, and it was like, I don't know, 40, 50 little tiny leaves, and one just landed right there on my drum. And then, nothing. And then nothing. So there are those beautiful moments that if you're not attentive, if you're not understanding that they are also talking to you, I'm getting chills right now. If they're also talking to you as much as you're talking to them,
Absolutely.
you don't
Yes.
get it. You
Yes.
just don't get it. And I cherish those moments. They don't happen always very frequently, but when they happen, they are so, so special. And I'm really, really attentive to the fact that we also talk about, and I don't know if you want to go into that or not, but we talk about the what do they call it? The elemental world, you know, the elemental world, the things that play in the plants that we may not necessarily understand and vibe. But I truly believe in the elemental world because again, I had another moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here it is,
Mm-hmm.
it's winter time, and I was doing a hike with a friend, and we're standing by a tree, right? And there's no breeze, there's no wind, there's no nothing, and the tree is moving like crazy, as if there's a breeze, And it's like, no, that's the elemental world. Like our brains want to say, oh yeah, the wind's blowing, but there was no wind, right? Like
No.
even intuitively, like even in passing by, what we do is as human beings, because we don't want to take in the information that tells us otherwise, we go, oh no,
Yes.
it just had to be a breeze or a chill or something just passed through real quick.
Yes. Yes.
No, there was no wind. I was standing by, I was talking to my friend. Her back was to the tree, and I'm watching the tree, and there's nothing move. It's movement going back and forth behind her, and there's no wind, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, do you have any comments about the elemental worlds? Oh,
I I do. My home in Brazil, when I first bought my home, there was a huge part that was deforest. And the idea was to make this gigantic home all the way to the deforest area. And something was telling me, no, 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 you are going to replant the trees. So we plant 900 and something trees in this little area. And it's a very amazing story, actually. I was going through some ups and downs in my life. I was going through a divorce, and I knew I needed to come to United States back to make money, but I couldn't because I needed to take care of this land. And how I knew is I one day I was sitting outside and I already had planted all the little trees, but they were very short and very weak. They're still to grow. And I'm sitting in there and I said, I spent all this money doing this. Now I'm broke. I don't have any money. I don't know what to do. And I am just lost. And I just wish I could hear something that tells me and guide me. I was desperate. And from nowhere, I saw this. I cannot really describe. It looks like a owl, but it wasn't a owl. And it kept moving its head and say, "You are the land keeper. You can't leave until the trees are grown enough and they're strong. You cannot leave. When it's time to leave, we will let you know. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I dreaming? Am I? And I'm a big fan of psychedelics. I'm not gonna lie. Here, I'm a mushroom head, and I at that time I was not doing anything, and I said, my goodness. So I went on with my life. Inolia knows the story. Miracles after miracles. I was able to take care of the land. I was able to pay my bills. I was able to keep my life for the next 4 years. And I kid you not, Inolia, when the plants were grown, the trees were stronger. 4 years after, I was sent back to United States.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a guidance. Okay, now you can go. Now everything is right. Now you can manage us from there. But every time I go home, I can feel and see my trees moving and dancing and, hey, mama, you're
Yes.
home.
And they truly do feel that way. I had the great pleasure of spending time with you at your home. Oh my goodness, it is your home. And they sing and they nurture and they prosper like I've never seen before. And it's so beautiful. And I know that we're coming up on the hour. And I wish we could just like keep this conversation going. Um, and I don't want to lose the fact that you plants are like your thing, but you bring such a plethora of everything to the table, energetic medicine. And do you want to just talk about a little bit of your work?
Yeah, so right now, I'm going to provide you information how I can be contacted.
Yeah.
And so I do something called Matrix. The Matrix is a short conversation, maybe 30 to 45 minutes to discover a little bit about people's life, why they are going through what they are going through, and that way I can help them to and guide them into a more happy and healthy life through food, herbs, meditation, and energetic medicine. So, and also I want to bring up that I created a balm, a pomade made with comfrey. And it's helping so many people. I have three types. I have one for major skin conditions, including psoriasis, and I have one for pain. I mean, it literally takes your pain away like a little angel. And I have one that is for dogs, which are spray, dogs or cats that are spray, or even horses. I forgot to tell you that, to tell here today that I also work with horses, and
Yes,
but
yes.
maybe another time. But anyway, so I will leave the information. I can mail those three items for you if you want, or if you would like to make a appointment for a consultation with me, I will be so happy to help you.
And are you you have a specific email address, correct? That you would accept those. So I don't want
Yes,
to be looking for you all throughout the social media things, you know. So it's
yes,
very special to be able to have access to you
yes,
by email. And
yes,
or you can contact me and I'll be happy to pass it on to Claudia. No problem at all.
yes, yes. And my house is available for rent on Airbnb. It's in a beautiful island in Florianopolis, Brazil. Inolia have been there.
Oh
It's
my gosh.
beautiful.
If I may,
Yeah.
she's just saying it's beautiful. It is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And it was so phenomenal. I held a women's retreat there. It is gorgeous. So if you want to see one of the best places, locations in Florianopolis, you will contact and find out about this woman's Airbnb. Okay, it's phenomenal. I'll be happy to share that. If actually, we'll put that down in the description link here, your Airbnb information, because it comes highly recommended. It is gorgeous. You have the view of the whole of Florianopolis Island. It's gorgeous. I can't even begin to tell you enough. So,
Very good. I'm also open for collabs. I like to collaborate with people, things that we can do in there. I, I'm open to, you know, everything spiritual. And as
yeah.
long as we are helping humanity and helping others and helping each other.
If you want to learn how to cook, contact this woman. She is the best. I had the best food in my life during that retreat. It was one of the best. I'm sorry, it's not even really equal to anybody else that I've ever held a event with and that provided food. Oh, it was phenomenal. And it
Thank
was, I've never had food where it was so healthy and so filling and so inviting and my body was so happy that hunger just didn't even it wasn't hunger. I don't know how to explain it. My body was just satisfied. And it was just like,
Yeah.
okay, satisfy me more. And by the way, you don't have to satisfy me 3 times a day. 2 times a day is enough. Like I just felt so satisfied.
I'm so happy. Just a little side note. Remember that young man that helped me? And
Yes.
so now he has one of the most successful business in that region of Brazil, and
Okay.
yeah, with a natural way of eating, and it's
Wow.
his business is booming. It's booming. He's doing retreats in Chile and also in Argentina, and just by working with me, he worked with me at Rosemary Dream, and
Uh-huh.
then in my home, and just and he just expand that, and that makes me so happy. This is why I do what I do too. I'm so happy how these teachings have influenced other people's life for the better, how help them to grow and be
Yeah.
more creative. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very happy.
So is there anything that you want to leave our audience with? Any last words that you want to share?
Yes, I would like to share my morning practice that has definitely changed my life. And it's very simple, nothing fancy. But every day when I wake up in the morning, I say, I am enough. I have enough. I feel enough. Every aspect of my life are working in perfect harmony, and every cell in my body are functioning in perfect homeostasis. Infinite love and gratitude.
That is so beautiful. Thank you, Claudia,
Thank you.
so much. So if
Thank
you
you.
like this episode, please share it with someone. You will not find these secrets anywhere else, okay? And if you know that somebody needs this information, share this episode. Claudia, I want to reserve the right to bring you back if you're willing to,
Yes, yes,
because
yes.
this was only one facet of something that you bring to the table, too. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So I hope that you'll subscribe to us, you'll like us, you'll share this information, and thank you for coming and listening. And this has been another episode of The Infinite Way, where spirituality meets humanity. And we'll see you next time. Take care for now. Bye bye.
Bye.